Alright guys, I've got an optional step for you. Where I am now is I've kind of caved in and I've decided to put a backing on the bow. Now what do you need in order to put a really good backing on the bow? Something that really will work well and really make sure that it doesn't explode on you. Here's what you need. This is drywall tape. It's fiberglass. It's like that mesh stuff that you get. You get a roll of it. It's about, I don't know, I found it anywhere from $3.99 for the roll to as high as I think $6.99 a roll. Thing is, you can probably back about 12 bows with this one roll. It's really cheap stuff, and it works, in my opinion, it works as well as Sinew, but it's a lot easier to use. The other thing you need is a glue. There are a lot of glues you can use. I prefer the Titebond brands as far as the manufactured brands go. In addition to that, for this particular situation, I like Titebond 3. The reason I like Titebond 3 compared to Titebond 2 or Titebond's hide glue is that this one's waterproof. And since we're not covering this with a snakeskin afterward, it's going to be able to cure very quickly. This stuff has a problem if you wrap it with saran wrap or rubber and to help compress the wood together, because it needs air to cure. But otherwise, for this application, it's going to get plenty of air. So what I've done, let me bring you up to speed. What I've done so far on the bow is I've sized the bow. Or there's a sizing, which is you just put a thin layer of glue wherever you want to put the backing to go. The reason is this raw wood is like a sponge. It just sucks up the liquid. And what will end up happening is if you don't do this and you just put a layer of glue down, the wood will suck up that glue and you'll have these blank spots where there's no glue. It's gone, it's been absorbed by the wood, and whatever you're laying down will start to come up. So now, this, I should have used the glove hand. It's tacky. I'm not getting any strings. It's still sticky, but it's almost there. And that's what you want to look for. You want this stuff to be, see how it's lifting? I don't know if you can see that. I'm not sure everything that's in the camera or not. But it's ready to go. So now what we do, the next step, I've already cut my fiberglass tape to size that I want. And I'm going to put a little bit heavier coat of glue on the bow. This is not a time to skimp, but it's also, control yourself. It's not a time to use the entire bottle of glue either. You got several layers of this you're going to put down. So let's just spread it out. Nice thick coat. And I do go over the edge just a little bit. Just a little bit over the edge, because I don't want it to lift up from the edge, especially this fiberglass stuff. Now, while I'm doing this, let me give you a word about this fiberglass tape. It may be tape, but it's still fiberglass. Okay? It's not the safest material to work with. I mean, it ain't going to jump up and bite you or anything. But I do recommend wearing gloves. It would be a good idea to wear them now, whenever you hold it. Anyone who's put that pink insulation in their attic knows what I'm talking about. You can't breathe this stuff or you get these splinters in your lungs. And if not your lungs, it goes into your skin and it just burns and is really uncomfortable. It feels like you got splinters under your skin, but there's nothing you can pull out. And well, it's really annoying. So now it's not as crucial to do it now, but in the next step, when I sand this down and or rasp it down and cut it down to trim it off and shape it, it's going to become that powder, and it's like getting broken glass in your body if you don't, if you're not careful. So I'll be wearing a long sleeve shirt, rubber gloves, a mask to protect what I'm breathing, to filter the air, and goggles so I don't get it in my eyes. Now you see what's happening here? I just laid down the first piece of glue, first piece of tape, and then I just sort of manipulate the glue so it gets in all the little crevices. And if I see it, if it doesn't fill the crevices on the tape, I got to push more glue in. That's basically what I'm doing now. Now you also notice I only did one half of the bow, or one side of the bow, and it's not sticking down there. You got to make sure it all sticks down, or you add more glue. Now what I'm going to do is 3 layers of this tape. Let me see, is that looking? I want to move it up a little bit. Just a little bit. Like that. And just one more swipe with the finger, just to make sure it all stays down pretty. And as long as you can fill the crevices with glue, you don't have to add more glue. But as soon as it doesn't seem to be doing that, you need to add more. Another word about Titebond 3, which is not necessarily the case for the other Titebond products. Once this glue cures, it will not stick to itself anymore. So, for example, if I were to say to myself, hey, I think I want to add snakeskins to this after the fact, and cover up, because it's not always the prettiest thing. This dries, I finish the bow, some time goes by, and I say, hey, I want to add snakeskins. I'm not going to be able to do that with Titebond 3, because new glue does not stick to cured Titebond 3 real well. Hopefully that made some sense. Alright, here we go. We got the second half on. Now you see I've got a nice overlap here. Whoops, a daisy. Make sure you line it up nice. Don't let it get away from you like I just did. Alright. So work pretty quickly here. Alright, now it's just starting to get a little hard to spread. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to attack. Now, I did one half, one side, the other side. The next piece of tape, which is going to be my second layer, I'm just going to put down the middle of the bow. This will help strengthen the handle, and it will protect the middle of the bow very well if I can get these pieces apart. This is where splinters happen.